Tonight, on The Big Story, the NBI official who investigated the alleged threats of Vice President Sara Duterte back in 2024 takes the witness stand and gets grilled at cross-examination. He called the VP's statements real, serious, and alarming. On the sidelines, Presiding Officer Chis Escudero addressed questions about his election and the conviction threshold. He says, bring these concerns to the Supreme Court. A changing of the guards at the Health Department. Ted Herbosa is out, and veteran orthopedic surgeon Brix Pujalte is in as DOH Secretary. And look who's back home. Fittingly, Malacanang is throwing her a big party. Good evening, I'm Ces Orenia Drilon. It's the second week, or to be exact, day 4 of Vice President Sara Duterte's impeachment trial. And as we speak, proceedings are still underway. This is the longest hearing so far since the trial started. The prosecution presented a second witness still on the assassination plot article. The objective? Prove that the VP's threats against President Bongbong Marcos, among others, were real and serious.
Ninyong lahat, Martin Romualdez, Lisa Marcos, Bongbong Marcos.
The utterances made by the Vice President was serious, and the threat was real and actual, sir. The second highest official of the land openly and publicly uttered that she had already contracted a person to kill the highest official of the land, and that she instructed the person to be relentless in killing them. We failed to see any amount of freedom of speech in that utterance. So on. Freedom of speech protects lawful expression, but it does not protect utterances that satisfies the elements of a criminal offense, like this one.
The prosecution's second witness took the stand in the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara. His testimony again provided more information on the allegation that the Vice President threatened the life of President Bongbong Marcos and his family. And reporting live from the Senate, we have mobile journalist Arles de los Santos. Arles, tell us more about the witness and what did his testimony focus on?
Sa ika-4 na araw ng impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte, tumayo nga sa witness stand ang NBI BARM Director na si Attorney Jeremy Lotoc. Si Lotoc ang hempe ng NBI Cybercrime Division na nagsagawa ng investigasyon sa mga press conferences ni VP Sara noong 2024. Dito nga, nagbanta umano ang bise laban kina Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, First Lady Liza Marcos, maging sa dating House Speaker na si Martin Romualdez. Sa pagtestigo ni Lotoc, pinanindigan ng prosekusyon says na totoo at seryoso ang pagbabanta ni VP Sara. Pakinggan natin ang pahayag ni Lotoc.
To me, as the chief investigator at that time, the utterances made by the Vice President was serious, and the threat was real and actual, sir.
Says dagdag pa ni Lotoc ay 4 na factors o 4 na salik ang kanilang pinagbasehan. Una ay ang delivery o paraan kung paano sinabi ni Vice President Sara Duterte ang pagbabantaan niya. Halatang galit na galit daw si Duterte nang magbanta sa Pangulo. Ang pangalawang factor naman ay ang literal meaning o ang literal na kahulugan ng mga pahayag ni VP Sara. Ayon kay Lotoc, literal na sinabi ng bise na mayroon na umano siyang nakausap na hitman para ipapatay ang Pangulo, First Lady at ang dating Speaker. Ikatlo naman ay ang nature of the instruction o ang utos na patayin ang Pangulo. Halata raw na seryoso ang bise sa kanyang pagbabanta. Pakinggan natin ang dagdag na pahayag ni Lotoc.
In those utterances, the Vice President said, wag kang tumigil hanggat hindi mo sila mapapatay. It shows persistence on the part of the Vice President, that she was determined to carry out those utterances. it's alarming for us, sir.
Ses, ang ikaapat na dahilan ay ang relasyon ng dalawang partido kung saan si VP Sara Duterte na raw mismo ang nagsabi na toxic na ang kanilang relasyon.
She characterizes the relationship with the president as toxic.
Toxic.
If I'm not mistaken, at least 3 times niya binigkas yung term na toxic, referring to the relationship between her and the president, sir.
Ses, kanina ay muling ipinalabas din ang ilang bahagi ng kontrobersyal na press conference ni Vice President Sara Duterte noong November 2024 kung saan pinagmumura niya ang Pangulo, si First Lady Liza Marcos at ang dating House Speaker na si Romualdez. Sabi ni Lotok, nasa 5 beses daw, Ses, na pinagmumura ni VP Sara si Pangulong Marcos. Pagpapakita rin daw ito na seryoso at totoo ang banta ni VP Sara. Pero Ses, ayon naman mismo sa National Bureau of Investigation o NBI ay wala pa umanong na-establish dahil hitimong impormasyon na nagtuturo sa individual na umano'y kinontrata ni Vice President Sara Duterte para patayin umano ang Pangulo at ang mga pamilya nito. Ses.
Arles, humiling si NBI Director Melvin Matibag na humarap sa paglilitis ngayong linggo na, imbes na next week. May desisyon na ba ang impeachment court ukol dito?
Yes, Ses, no. Actually, si Director Matibag yung humihiling mismo sa Senate Impeachment Court na kung maaari daw ay mas mapaaga siya, no, na humarap nga o tumistigo dito dahil mayroon itong summit na pupuntahan sa Bangkok, Thailand na mismong sasakto sa July 20 to 21, no, na kung saan ito yung mga araw na inaasahan natin ang nalalabing mga araw para sa presentasyon ng Article 4 of Impeachment na umano'y grave threats ni Vice President Sara Duterte, no. Pero agad yan na inangalan ng mga senator judges tulad ni Senator Judge Alan Cayetano. Ang hiling kasi ni Matibag nga naunahin siya, no, pero sa original na schedule kasi, Ses, no, si OVP Chief of Staff at Undersecretary Zuleika Lopez ang nakatakdang humarap sa pagdinig bukas. Tumutol ang ilang senator judges sa pagsingit kay Matibag at iginiit na kailangang sundin ang schedule sa impeachment trial at sinuportahan din yan ni Senate President Win Gatchalian. Sa ngayon, Ses, ay wala pa ring pinala na desisyon kung pinagbigyan nga ba ang hiling ni Matibag.
Ito namang pinuna ng depensa ng mga typographical errors o mga petsa sa mga dokumento ng NBI. Ano ba ang relevance ng mga ito? Anong gusto nilang itukoy?
So far, no, yung mga typographical errors nga na napansin ay yung mga imbitasyon umano at letter doon sa media companies na humihingi ng kopya ng late night na controversial online press conference ni Vice President Sara noong 2024. Maging daw yung mga sabina sa mga investigative affidavits na doon sa mga reporter na mismong nag-cover ng press conference na yun ni Vice President Sara Duterte, no. Giit ng depensa ng mga senator judges rather, no, na mga nakapansin nito bakit tila daw hindi lang isa kundi dalawa yung kanilang napansin, no. Pero ayon kay presiding officers as Senator Judge Jesus Cordero ay hayaan daw na ang mga dokumento ang magsalita para rito. Kabukod dyan, Ses, ay meron ding diskusyon patungkol doon sa umano'y referral at utos ng Department of Justice na nag-discuss naman, no, kung meron na nga bang sapat na basehan yung preliminary of investigation na isunumite ng National Bureau of Investigation na kung saan initially daw says doon sa paper, no, lumalabas January 30 ang transmittal ng letter sa DOJ, February 5 yung certification from DOJ, pero sinasabi nito na insufficient of a preliminary examination ito, no, pero on the same day February 5, doon din umano hinabol yung papel para masama ito sa Articles of Impeachment sa House of Representatives. Pero masyado daw maaga nabanggitin kung tinamper nga ba talaga ang mga petsa na ito.
Arles, tila ngayon lang yata natatapos ang unang araw ngayong linggo ng hearing ng impeachment court. Napatagal ngayong araw.
Yes, Ses, kapapasok. Actually, Ses, mas mahaba-haba nga no, ngayong araw kumpara noong mga una-unang araw nito no, ng impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Siguro, Ses, nakita kasi natin na base na rin no, sa testamento at pahayag ng defense kanina, nais talaga nila na matapos ang cross-examination para sa NBI Special Agent na si Attorney Lotoc. No, at nang sa gayon, masunod yung kalendaryo na bukas naman ay inaasahan na humarap ang Chief of Staff ng OVP na si Attorney Zuleika Lopez.
Thank you for your reporting. That was mobile journalist Arles de los Santos there live at the Senate. And now to share his insights on today's impeachment trial, we have with us Attorney Rafael Aquino. Attorney Aquino is a member of the Free Legal Assistance Group. Welcome to the big story. Thank you for coming over to our studio.
Thank you, Ses, for having me. Magandang gabi at sa mga tagapanood natin.
Oo. Up to the very last minute, bago tayo pumunta dito, we were still listening.
Monitoring.
Oo nga. What do you make of the fourth day and how important was the testimony of Lotoc, of NBI Agent Lotoc?
Well, it's another block in building the structure for Article 4 for the prosecution. The importance of Lotoc's testimony, I think, lies in the fact that he is the head of the Cybercrime Division, and this is the activity that constitutes Article 4 really was done through information technology, Zoom. Okay, so
forte niya, kumbaga,
forte
although
niya.
he's now in BARM. Pero one issue, okay, the counsel for the respondent did not object to and during the presentation of the prosecution at all.
I noticed that, and I guess that is an improvement. No? Mabigat yung batikos sa depensa because of the obvious obstructionism that happened during the first 3 days. So they reined that in.
So they're listening,
They're listening, I guess.
to the public pulse. But the cross-examination was, how would you characterize the cross of Attorney Vinluan? Did he poke holes?
Oh, definitely. I think damage was done, although for now, it appears that the damage is cosmetic or it's not structural. As to whether or not these irregularities in the dates, in the case numbers will matter, that will depend on how the defense presents its own case.
But it makes you suspicious, at least one, that the very day the impeachment complaint was passed, was approved in the House.
The first one.
Yes, the first one that didn't prosper, was also the day that the DOJ approved the NBI's, is it investigation report? Yeah.
Yeah, and that is, I think, one of the reasons why this time around the prosecution should not waive its right to redirect. Okay, so there is that opportunity for them
we
to cure
didn't
that.
catch that part.
Yeah.
But the first time they waived, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And rightly so, in my estimation.
Because?
The testimony of Kalilung, that witness, wasn't really shaken or damaged in any way by during cross, unlike
today.
now that there are holes poked, to use your words.
Yeah. Also, there seems to be this question that they didn't seem to take seriously the threats that against the vice president.
Yes, apart from the fact that they did invite the vice president to provide information, which invitation wasn't really obliged by the vice president. Mukhang wala nang, in the words of the witness, wala kami mapagsimulan. No
Dun sa-
handle to
at
it.
least in the cyberspace.
Yes.
Sabi
yes.
niya yung intelligence.
Because that is his competence.
So, right.
Yeah. So, no chatter, no SOCMED, except for that pulling out of Sarah's part of
her
Duterte's
security detail.
But that again is equivocal. Many reasons can lie behind that.
Should the prosecution address that?
Yes, I think so. I mean,
Kasi
now or
medyo
later.
marami, no? 75 personnel from her 335 security detail.
Marami, but then again, hindi marami compared to yung mga naiwan. Okay, it's still 300 personnel from the AFP detailed to guard a vice president. I don't think Robredo or any of our past vice presidents had that large security detail.
Well, going back to the cross-examination by the defense, they seem to suggest that the DOJ was taking orders, or at least the NBI, from Malacanang.
Well, I don't know if the allegation that they were ordered to do that by Malacanang has any evidence behind it. No? The fact is, the witness just said that BBM did not interfere. But rarely would a witness at his level be privy to such instructions.
Above his pay grade na
Above
yun.
his pay grade.
And if there was, I mean, if they are able to prove that there was, that would be damaging.
Not necessarily, because, the threat against any sitting president is always a grave threat. It's always a serious matter. Involving not only his safety, personally, or that of his family, but it's really a matter of national security. I mean, if that isn't a matter of national security, then what is? Right?
Plus the VP would benefit, would of course assume office if that were to happen.
She
Like,
is
she's the direct beneficiary of
she
that.
She is in that position, right? So the concern of the president, lalo na I heard ang words ni BBM, papalagang ko yan, hindi ko aatrasan yan. The DOJ, the SOJ at the time, the Secretary of Justice, being the alter ego of the president, could already take his cue. He could have easily called up the NBI and said, concerned si Presidente dito, imbestigahan niyo yan. No?
But they took, moto proprio nga nilang ginawa eh.
Yes, but...
Is that an issue also? The defense made an issue out of it.
It's a non-issue actually, but actually the angle there is that this is part of the persecution of the Vice President. No?
By all agencies of
By
government.
a whole of government approach. No? But really...
Yun ang angulo nila.
Yes.
Na hindi nyo naman kailangan imbestigahan, ginawa nyo.
Oo, pero pag hindi nila ginawa yon, there's also this, dereliction of duty yan. Because under the law, any threat against the line of succession, President, Vice President, Speakers, Senate President, and the Chief Justice, national security matter yan, and kailangan imbestigahan.
And that was also the testimony of Lotok earlier.
Precisely.
That it would cause chaos if, and people can take advantage of it.
Yes, precisely.
Ngayon, in the cross, well, we saw Attorney Ligutan always objecting to the questioning. Baka naman sa prosecution naman magalit ang mga nanonood. Well, you said that the counsel for the respondents listened.
Yes.
Okay. Should he now rein himself in a bit?
I think so. Says, well, I mean, what's
Excited.
good for the goose
Goose should be good for
for the gander,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Anyway, I think Attorney Ligutan and his team assigned to Article 4 has already clearly laid out the proper framework here. All the cross-examination has centered so far mainly on things that are relevant in criminal litigation of grave threats. No? But what matters here is that once those words left the mouth of Sara Duterte, the threat was already a consummated fact. It was absolute and non-conditional. Nandun na. The only thing that matters here, as pointed out by some senator judges, is does that constitute a betrayal of public trust? Does that make her unfit to hold public office?
Does it?
I think that's the proper framework, and that was laid out clearly so that Ligutan can now afford to rein himself
Oo.
a little
Excitable,
back in.
no? Hindi pa siya pinapayagan ng presiding officer, may objection na.
Same as the defense also previously. Yeah.
Okay. Now, with what you said, just to follow up to what you said, as soon as the words left the mouth of the VP, absolute na yon. So it's no longer necessary na mag-present ng assassin na hinire niya if there was ever one?
Oo tingin ko hindi na For purposes of Article 4, not for purposes of proving grave threats. Okay? Okay na yun.
In the normal court, in grave threat, if there were a grave threats case filed, you would have had to.
Yes, because that would go into the credibility of the threat. Okay? Details like that, critical details like that.
Could that be the reason why the DOJ had not filed the case since lampas 1 year na?
Well,
Or it's
I wouldn't like to speculate, but
Okay.
it's a possibility, of course. Yes.
Now, Senator Aquino stood up to ask that, na about the assassin. So, would it though, to make a stronger case, present, because the prosecution suggested that they would.
Yes, they said, yes, Attorney Ligutan said yes,
Yes,
right?
he did say yes. Was he just forced to say yes, or?
No, because as I recall, he did look at his panel and then said yes. So I guess there's something behind that. Abangan.
Mas matibay yun.
Mas titibay, oo. Definitely, it will enhance. It's not indispensable, but it will enhance the case.
Now tomorrow, the Chief of Staff of the VP is expected to testify. Will she be treated like a hostile witness?
I expect that she would, considering that her close association and her particular role in this entire thing. While the Attorney Lotok was saying that her situation at the time of the press conference didn't really matter to the threats because the threat was preceded by an October
Yes, October 18.
18 OVP press con. I think it did also. Because of the very close ties. I mean, as I understand it, Attorney Lopez has been with the Vice President since Davao.
Since Davao
right?
days, yeah. So it will be a difficult witness to present. She will be a challenge for the prosecution.
Yes, but the prosecution will at least be able to ask questions as if on cross-examination.
Yeah.
Okay? So,
But,
yeah.
okay, but can she invoke her right against self-incrimination?
Oh, yes.
She can. That's within her.
definitely, definitely. Once the question, which she thinks is incriminatory, is asked.
But what would that, because, you know, it's also the public that really the lawyers, the prosecution, and the defense, and the senators are speaking to, right? The Filipinos. What will that convey, though, if you refuse to answer a question?
That you're hiding something. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's best for her not to.
Not to invoke.
Parang kanina pa nag-beep yung ano. Anyway, hindi naman naririnig. So, yeah, that would not be a good...
No, bad optics. Yeah.
So far, how would you rate today or assess today as compared to the first three? I remember kasi Senator Chis Escudero, the presiding officer, saying, don't worry, a rhythm will come, parang birth pains lang ito, something to that effect. Do you see that, na medyo nagsispeed up na ang process?
Oh, yes, and in fairness to the presiding officer, he has been visibly trying to speed things up. Okay. So, forthwith, finally.
Wala na sa kanyang bokabularyo. Mas forthwith na siya ngayon. Tama. Now, he has said that the voting threshold should be left to the Supreme Court to decide.
Well, he did rule that it's absolutely 16 to convict, but left that option, that of course this could be challenged before the Supreme Court. But he could have easily flipped it and said,
Let's vote.
it's Avellino, meaning 2/3 of all members within the coercive powers of the Senate, whatever that universe might be, and anyone can question it to the Supreme Court.
So as not to delay the process, I suppose. Because if he opened that for debate, hindi tayo makakapagsimula.
Hindi. That's
So
right.
it was a strategy.
Probably. Him saying that it's 16. Okay.
Right. But will the Supreme Court intervene in this case?
Well, personally, I think 16 to convict is wrong. No?
It's wrong. Okay. Because they are not, some senators are not within the coercive power.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
If you were to use that.
Yes, we might be interpreting the Constitution to allow an absurd result, and that is not the way things are done. Okay?
Parang the law is there to make things, I mean, it has to be logical.
Yeah, and to achieve the objective.
Yeah.
Impeachment is a very important constitutional mechanism for accountability, which is another constitutional principle. So you interpret everything that pertains to impeachment, including the conviction threshold, to achieve accountability.
Okay.
Okay, so it's as simple as that.
Okay. But then, there are those of the belief that the Supreme Court will not intervene when it comes to cases like this. It will leave it to the Senate to decide. So it might be left like a hanging question.
Yes, if that happens, then the 16 to convict will have to be challenged by the other senator judges themselves. Okay? Because, well,
Let's say if the Supreme Court is hands off, or if
Yeah.
it doesn't even say anything, and
Yes,
then
yes,
the time to vote has come.
yes. Ang sana na lang may marinig tayo sa Supreme Court either way as soon as possible para alam natin kung saan hahantong ito. I mean, if they're going to invoke the political question doctrine, meaning that belongs to the political departments, we won't exercise our power of judicial review, sabihin na nila na maaga para alam din nung judges.
At saka, kasi
Kung
magiging
paano.
crisis, di ba? In a way.
Oo. On the other hand, there's the expanded power of judicial review ng Supreme Court na hindi na lang basta makakapagtago ang hukuman sa likod ng political question doctrine. Kapag constitutional yung question and there are rules drawn with respect to the Constitution like here, di ba? Ano yan?
Manghihimata.
Switched on yung power of judicial review.
So what do you think?
Um,
Because they did. And in
Yes.
fact, in the case of the first impeachment complaint
That's
against
right.
the VP, and some thought it was overreach, in fact, judicial
Yes,
overreach.
yes, yes.
So what do you think?
As I said, either way, sabihin na nila na maaga. But if
Wala
you
pang
ask me,
nagka-question eh.
kaya nga,
Oh.
but if you ask me,
Okay. 16
it's not
ridiculous.
16.
It
Yeah.
cannot be 16.
It cannot be 16.
It doesn't abide by what the Constitution,
how the Constitution should be interpreted. Okay.
and
Yeah.
who should go to the Supreme Court anyway? Ang flag, hindi ba pupunta?
Pwede, pero may question pa ng standing yan kung iba pa pupunta doon di ba? Kasi ang Supreme Court, dapat may standing ka before you go to them and pray for something. Like merong yung final nung high school, nung the student, twice already.
yeah.
Kasi walang standing. Di ba? So, ang maganda dyan,
a senator.
the
Or the
senator judges.
Or the VP herself?
The VP herself. Although, pabor kay VP yung 16 absolute. So, the senators who are politically not aligned with the VP, ang natural petitioners.
Ikaw ba tumitigil ang mundo pag impeachment?
Hindi
Hindi.
Oo
So you have to half listen and
Yeah, ngayon lang araw na to dahil nga because of this invitation, natakot ako sa
sorry
iyo.
naman. Okay. Pero otherwise, you go about your business.
Yes. You're right, half listening sa ngayon lang pag impeachment nasa AM talaga yung radyo ng sasakyan. This time around sa telepono because of live streaming.
Yeah. And so are, I would say, majority of the Filipino people. Hindi naman nakatutok lahat.
That's right.
So, how important in the final analysis, ganong kahalaga ito sa ating lahat? I mean, you don't have to tune in the whole, hours on end, but how important is this process?
Oh, well, I think it's critical. First, it provides an opportunity really for our people to educate themselves and raise the level of thinking and discourse, public discourse. Because, like it or not, after the impeachment is the campaign period.
Yeah.
Lead up na yan to 2028. And VP Sara is, of course, a contender. Okay, so
The leading one,
Yeah.
in fact.
if the evidence comes out of that suggests unfitness, even if she is acquitted because of the tyranny of numbers, okay, provided that the evidence comes out, there is an even chance, I think, that she will face the challenge once again in 2028. Hindi yan slam dunk. Okay.
So that's how crucial it is. It really goes to who will be our leader for the next 6 years.
Yes,
Right?
Yes, that's
All right.
precisely the point.
Classmate, I have now to reveal that we were classmates in high school in UP High.
UP High.
Kaya maraming salamat sa iyong pagpunta. Looking forward to your insights the next time. That was Attorney Rafi Aquino, who is a lawyer with flag and who has, of course, a thriving legal practice. Thank you so much.
Salamat, Ses.
You're watching The Big Story. When we return, we have news on the new Health Secretary.
Inaasahang pangungunahan ni Dr. Pujalte Jr. ang ahensya na mapatatag ang healthcare system sa bansa, maisulong ang dekalidad na serbisyong pangkalusugan at maisulong ang mabuting kalusugan para sa lahat.
Attention all ships, attention all ships, attention all ships. This is Philippine Coast Guard, standby for the 10th anniversary arbitral horn salute. This is Philippine Coast Guard, standby for the 10th anniversary arbitral horn salute.
A synchronized horn salute there, led by the Philippine Coast Guard station in Western Bohol, to mark the 10th anniversary of the historic victory of the Philippines. On June 12, 2016, a tribunal supported by the United Nations junked Beijing's bid, laying claim to virtually all of the South China Sea. Aside from the PCG, the Navy also hosted a water salute and coordinated horn-blowing ceremony in Subic Bay yesterday. Philippine-flagged vessels, floating assets, and shore-based units of the government joined the activity. You're still watching the big story on One News. There is a new health secretary as DOH Chief Ted Herbosa resigns for health reasons. Herbosa served the agency on and off as secretary for 8 years. He bows out after getting embroiled in a graft case filed by DOH employees over a multi-billion peso procurement. But Malacanang insists Herbosa's resignation had nothing to do with this issue.
Hindi po nabanggit ang patungkol po dyan at ang isinaalang-alang po ng Pangulo ay ang kanyang kalusugan.
Herbosa will be replaced by veteran orthopedic surgeon Dr. Jose Brix Pujalte Jr. Dr. Brix is a medical center chief of the Philippine Orthopedic Center since 2014.
Sa kanyang pagpasok sa DOH, inaasahang pangunahan ni Dr. Pujalte Jr. ang ahensya sa pagpapatuloy ng mga hakbang ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. upang higit na mapatatag ang healthcare system sa bansa, maisulong ang dekalidad na serbisyong pangkalusugan at maisulong ang mabuting kalusugan para sa lahat.
In a statement, Herbosa said he is thankful for having served as the 30th Secretary of the Health Department. He recently underwent knee replacement surgery and would need complete physical therapy to fully recuperate. Herbosa said his resignation is to ensure his rehabilitation and therapy won't get in the way of his daily duties in the DOH. He also extended his congratulations to his successor and wished a peaceful and more orderly Philippines. Malacanang has not yet received any requests to open the sealed green box that contains the tax records of Vice President Sara Duterte and her husband, Mans Carpio. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said President Bongbong Marcos has not received any request or letter pertaining to the item. Castro, however, said that this can be studied if it reaches the President's desk. The debate on the box's fate continues after the Senate Impeachment Court's presiding officer, Senator Francis Escudero, ordered its return to the BIR. Earlier, Senator Panfilo Lacson said the box can be opened if expressly authorized by the Chief Executive.
So pag dumating na po ang kanilang paghiling, ito po'y aaralin at tingnan po natin kung ano magiging aksyon ng Pangulo patungkol po dyan. So lahat ng dokumento, lahat ng lehitimo na mga dokumento ay masasabi nating importante sa paglalahad ng katotohanan.
Castro also responded to recent statements from Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte. In an interview in The Hague, the former president's son again linked the impeachment case of his sister VP Sara to her presidential bid in 2028. Castro denied this.
When did this impeachment campaign begin? It was, 3 years ago. Even nung simula pa lang ng termino ni Marcos yan, nung nagkalapuan na, andyan na yung usapang impeachment against the Vice President for the confidential funds. And ngayon dinadagdagan nila na kung ano-ano na lang pwedeng idagdag, di ba?
Kung alam pala nila na 3 taon na itong pinagpaplanuhan, kung totoo man ito, di sana mas naging maingat sana ang Vice Presidente sa paggamit ng kanyang confidential funds. Kung alam niya na nila ito, hindi ba dapat mas naging mas masipag ang Vice Presidente at hindi puro pangingimang bansa? At sana hindi na rin siya umalis at that time nung merong bagyong Katrina at nanood ng concert ni Taylor Swift.
Castro also recalled the mayor's previous statements regarding Operation Romanov, which allegedly served as a threat against President Marcos. This statement was made months before the vice president's controversial death threat video in November 2024.
Una nadinig ang salitang Romanov sa bibig mismo ni Mayor Baste Duterte. January 2024. At nandoon na ang pagbabanta sa ating Pangulo. Sinimulan ito ni dating Pangulong Duterte, sinundan ni Mayor Baste Duterte. Pumangatlo ang Vice Presidente. Lahat sila nagbanta sa buhay ni Pangulong Marcos Jr.
And meantime, here are the other stories making headlines this Monday from mobile journalist Merimon Reyes.
At least 20 people died as Typhoon Inday and the enhanced southwest monsoon triggered widespread flooding across the country. According to the Office of Civil Defense, the fatalities were reported in Bukidnon, Sarangani, and Lanao del Sur. Most of the fatalities drowned or perished in landslides caused by continuous and intense rains. Meantime, the NDRRMC reported 9 people were injured in separate landslide incidents across 5 provinces. Search and rescue operations are underway for 16 still missing people. The combined effects of Habagat and Inday have affected more than 146,000 families or over 654,000 people. The government has released more than 43 million pesos in assistance as relief operations continue in hardest hit areas. Still on the weather, the low-pressure area being monitored outside the Philippine area of responsibility has developed into a tropical depression. It was last spotted 1,265 kilometers east of eastern Visayas, with maximum sustained winds of 55 kilometers per hour and gusts of up to 70 kph. Still, Pag-asa said the tropical depression has a low chance of entering PAR. The southwest monsoon will continue to bring rains across Luzon, while localized thunderstorms are expected over parts of Visayas and Mindanao. Senator Rodante Marcoleta is now fit to travel according to doctors at the PNP General Hospital. However, they recommend that he complete his course of antibiotics for mild pneumonia until July 15. The senator is now clinically stable, with his blood pressure now under control. PNP doctors added there is no medical need to transfer Marcoleta to another hospital and that they will comply with any transfer order from the Sandigan Bayan. Marcoleta remains under PNP custody after his arrest for a non-bailable plunder case over undeclared campaign donations. His co-accused are now detained at the New Quezon City Jail in Payatas. President Bongbong Marcos will leave for Singapore for a 3-day working visit starting Tuesday, July 14. Palace Press Officer Claire Castro said the trip is aimed at further strengthening ties between the two countries, coming at a time when the Philippines is chair of the ASEAN. During the visit, Mr. Marcos will also join a private roundtable with the Milken Institute and business leaders to promote investment opportunities in the Philippines. First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos will likewise speak at the Global Cooperation East Summit at the invitation of the India-based Future Economic Council. Motorists are set to face another round of fuel price hikes this week. The Department of Energy estimates diesel prices going up by between 2 pesos and 62 centavos and 4 pesos and 62 centavos per liter. Kerosene prices may also rise by between 2 pesos and 22 centavos and 4 pesos and 22 centavos per liter. Meanwhile, gasoline prices are expected to remain largely stable, with adjustments ranging from a 1 peso rollback to a 1 peso increase per liter. Energy Secretary Sharon Garin said the DOE may stop issuing price ranges if volatility in the global oil market persists. Kapatid Mobile journalist Mary Reyes, we are One News.
This is a big story on One News. When we return, we have the rest of the impeachment court presiding officer's statement on criticism over his election.
Liwanagin ko tulad ng sinabi ko sa aking opening statement o talumpati na pambungad. Hindi ko ginusto to, hindi ko hiningi ito, hindi ko hinanap ito.
Martin Romualdez, Lisa Marcos, Bongbong Marcos.
The utterances made by the Vice President was serious, and the threat was real and actual, sir. Freedom of speech protects lawful expression, but it does not protect utterances that satisfies the elements of a criminal offense, like this one, Your Honor.
Bring it to the Supreme Court. That's a challenge of Senator Chis Escudero to those questioning his election as presiding officer of the Duterte Impeachment Court. In his podcast over the weekend, Escudero insisted he is just carrying out the responsibility entrusted to him. Recall that Senator Judge Alan Peter Cayetano said it should be the Senate President leading the court, invoking the Constitution. A group of lawyers has also asked the SC to issue a temporary restraining order on the trial.
Liwanagin ko tulad ng sinabi ko sa aking opening statement o talumpati na pambungad. Hindi ko ginusto to, hindi ko hiningi ito, hindi ko hinanap ito.
Escudero also addressed criticisms over his decision to keep defining the two-thirds conviction threshold as 16 despite some senators being absent. Senator Judges Bato de la Rosa, Jinggoy Estrada, and Rodante Marcoleta are currently facing legal battles.
Ito ang umiiral pong desisyon ng Korte Suprema, sang-ayon man po tayo o hindi. Kung sino man ang hindi sang-ayon sa posisyong ito, hindi lamang ng presiding officer, pati na rin ng impeachment court. May pagkakataon silang iakyat ito sa Korte Suprema.
Business leader Manny Pangilinan marked his birthday by returning to his roots and giving young learners in San Juan City a more inspiring space to grow. More from mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho.
For many, a birthday is a time to celebrate. But for business leader Manny Pangilinan, it is also an opportunity to give back. This year, the MVP group of companies, together with the PLDT Smart Foundation, returned to San Juan City, where Pangilinan spent his childhood, to turn a child development center into a more inspiring space for young learners. This celebration brought together volunteers, partners, and the community for a day of creativity and giving, featuring a community mural painting, storytelling sessions for the children, and the turnover of learning support items to help create a more inspiring space for young learners.
So this year we want to go back to the roots of his where he was born, actually in San Juan, where he grew up, and where extraordinary became extraordinary. And so we're here. We chose a daycare center here in San Juan City, where we can inspire the kids through a mural painting of the classroom with inspired by the Extraordinary Manny storybook.
More than a birthday tribute, the activity reflects a long-standing commitment to invest in young Filipinos through education, community development, and volunteerism. For San Juan City, the initiative also carries a deeper meaning, honoring one of its own by helping shape the next generation.
Kanina nga po sa aking mensahe, binanggit ko na ang San Juan po talaga ay nagbibigay ng napakalaking importansya sa edukasyon ng ating kabataan. At tinutulungan po ngayon ng MVP group of companies, lahat ng mga foundations po, group of companies po in District Pangilinan, ang mga tinutulungan po nila ng ating kabataan. Para sa akin po, sila ang magiging kinabukasan ng ating bansa. So, as we support them, as we help educate them, we are developing our future leaders. So,
for Pangilinan, returning to the city where he grew up was a reminder of his roots and of the responsibility to create opportunities for others.
It's a concrete manifestation of a continuing program, part of our foundations and our companies to do social work. She said, give back to the communities that we serve. It's part and parcel of the work, part and parcel of the business purpose. I hope not only one, but more than one of them become extraordinary citizens, extraordinary Filipinos. We need many more.
Mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho. We are One News.
MVP also graced the launch of the expanded music program Vibe Plus. Actor Enrique Hill led the special birthday tribute, while San Miguel Corporation President and CEO Ramon Ang also attended the event. Ang's appearance fueled fresh speculation that he and Pangilinan could be involved in a takeover deal of ABS-CBN. This remains unverified. What is confirmed, though, is a content partnership among local networks with select TV5 programs expected to air on ABS-CBN platforms, while shows from both networks are also being carried on All TV. And after a 4-month break, the Toyota Gazoo Racing Philippine Cup is back. But this time, the action on the track is also helping test low-carbon fuel technology. Mobile journalist Evan Tarinque reports.
The roar of engines returned to Clark International Speedway as the Toyota Gazoo Racing Philippine Cup opened race weekend 2 of the season. Drivers went wheel to wheel with every lap testing their speed, skill, and precision. But this weekend, it wasn't just the driver being put to the test. The series also served as a rolling laboratory for low-carbon biofuels. The Tamaraw 1-make race ran on a 5% cocoa biodiesel blend, while the Vios race cars use a 20% bioethanol blend. The goal? To find out whether these alternative fuels could match the performance and reliability of conventional fuels under the extreme demands of motorsports.
As one of the racers, I didn't realize that the small changes. The biofuels.
Despite the new fuel blends, the competition remained just as fierce. Paulo Ang won the legacy class, Red Diwag took the super sporting class, while Mike Santos claimed victory in the sporting class.
This is different. We use extreme use of conditions of the biofuel. I think this will give them a different angle.
Throughout the weekend, engineers monitored the car's performance, reliability, and efficiency. That's to see how the biofuel blends held up under race conditions. Because the race cars retain their production engines, the data could also help improve performance and durability of future road cars using similar fuel blends. Toyota says the test is part of its effort to study low-carbon fuels in real-world, high-stress conditions where engines are pushed to their limits.
Success for us that performance at least did not change.
With race weekend 2 now in the books, the TGR Philippine Cup shifts to its next stop. Race weekend 3 is set for August 13 to 15 at the Batangas Racing Circuit, before the series return to Clark International Speedway for race weekend 4 from September 10 to 12. Kapatid Mobile Junior Ivan Tarinque, we are One News.
And finally, on our big picture tonight is Filipina tennis superstar Alex Eala. President Bongbong Marcos and First Lady Lisa Araneta just threw her a grand homecoming reception in Malacanang. The event honored the 21-year-old's historic Wimbledon campaign. Eala became the first Filipina to reach the 4th round of a Grand Slam singles tournament, advancing to the round of 16. Along the way, she won the WTA 125 title in Birmingham and reached the semifinals of the Berlin Tennis Open. And those are the big stories this Monday, July 13. I'm Ces Orenia Drilon. Kapatid, we are One News, your side, all the time. Good night.